Hello, hello, hello. This is your African diaspora teacher. This morning, I come before you with a heavy heart to pay tribute to a fallen hero, the president of Tanzania, President Magufuli. President Magufuli came to power to come and change certain roles within the mining sector in his country, among a list of other things. He abrogated all the contracts and sent my way or the highway because the mining industries in his country were doing nothing but stealing. Let's call it that way. So he put a stop to the stealing and the looting. And so we have to review all the contracts and all the taxes that had not been paid in the last, I think they say 60 years or 50 years, back to the 60s, 1960s, have to be paid. The miners, the foreign miners thought who is this guy? Who was joking. He closed everything down. Withdraw all the licenses, so nobody was mining. And then they realized that the man was serious. So they started reluctantly coming, to come for a review. And those who came for the review took the hard pill. But it wasn't a hard pill. They still could make profit, but they were just, greedy and believed that an African nation need to be walked over because they are investors. And the rest became history. A lot of money raining through the renegotiation of these contracts. Magufuli got the money that he needed to build, and he built. Compared to other African nations, he built. Other African nations talk about what they're going to build. Magufuli built. Other African nations talk about how they're going to run rail from here to there. They just talk because the money was not there. Magufuli laid a rail, and they are working at a price that he didn't borrow from nobody. Hospitals, airports, roads, highways, bridges, industries, beautification of the cities, because he had the money that he's looking for. The money that other nations lack because somebody is in fact just stealing, looting. Magufuli knew the sacrifice he has to go through to redeem Tanzania. The sacrifice a lot of our leaders scare of. Magufuli knew what Kwame Nkrumah went through. Magufuli knew what Lumumba went through. Magufuli knew what came about Olympia when he wanted to withdraw from the CFA. Magufuli knew about Thomas Sankara, what came about him when he wanted to reform Burkina, Upper Volta to Burkina. Magufuli even know about what came about Gaddafi. But he went ahead. He knew the history. He knew who is stealing, who came from somewhere, wanted to take what belonged to Africans and to make Africans look poor so you can say, look at them. God even hated them. Look how poor they are. It's a blackmailing. Look at them. We are the superior being, and look at them. They have no shoes. Their children are hungry. It's blackmailing, straight up. So when you are being bombarded with negative image of yourself, your self-esteem drops. So a man can come with no money simply because he's from somewhere, looking pale. You look up to him because you believe he has money. He could redeem you. He's a criminal in your country, but you believe he's an angel to come and save you. Magufuli said, no. The angels are here. The gods that made us did not make us to be poor. Again, the God that made the African did not make him to be poor, other than that he won't place him in. But somebody's taking your mind. Somebody's taking your worth and building shining images somewhere to attract you to go over there. And you go over there, you get stuck. You get stuck. You can't come back. So as we are trooping out of Eden with all the gold and diamond and all the rare minerals that runs the world's economy, as we are trooping out of that address, guess who is going? Those who are not blessed are trooping in to take your grandfather's vineyard. Grandpa's vineyard is being neglected by us. We should blame ourselves. And when they turn the grapes and the vines and turn it into wine, guess who buy them? They say Lagos is the champagne capital of the world. So they turn grandpa's vineyard into beautiful champagne. And we keep buying. Any price they want to sell it, we just say, bring it, baby, we'll buy it. Okay, so Magufuli, what did he do? He pointed out that there are enemies. And he taught his people about this enemy. He said there's going to be a prize. By who? By the enemy. So he taught his citizens about the enemy. And the word is going around that there's an enemy for Africans, eternal enemy, which they never thought we could realize, we would come to realization about. You see. So the word is going around about the realization of the African knowing who the enemy is. As a matter of fact, a video of Paul Kagame being interviewed by a Muzungu. The Muzungu was asking him, is it true that Africans have or Africans believe that the West is their enemy? You know, a question that Paul Kagame was like, wow. So he answered it the best he could, politically. But anyway, whether Paul Kagame agreed or not agree that the West is the eternal enemy of Africans, as the interviewer, had asked him, people in Senegal don't have to be political about who the enemy is. 2 weeks ago, the youth of Senegal pointed a finger at who the enemy is, burned their stores, looted their stores because they were there to dominate them economically. And when the president came to talk to the youth, you may think Jesse Jackson is talking, or any politicians in America talking, because he was talking exactly the same thing they usually say when there's a riot in America. You don't have to burn your neighborhood down. You are increasing your own poverty. You know, when you burn down these places, you can't get a job. The same thing they say in America to black people about a job, It's about, you are increasing poverty. The poverty is already there in Senegal. Meanwhile, these big corporations are running big money, profit, and sending it out. So what poverty? It's already there. The same thing in America. You may think the president is Jesse Jackson talking because the scripts are the same. The lie. So who wrote the script? Who is writing the script for these people? Tell them not to, disturb the water for their own employment benefits. What employment? At what price in Africa? How much the French are paying our women, mostly our women in their as sales girls, that they could call into office and rape at any time. Now they want to extend it to our young men too. You see, what kind of poverty that these enterprises are alleviating? Now, you see, the big corporations dominate our economy, making it impossible for us to raise capital to control our own economy. It can't go on like that. And they lie to us. Nations cannot involve in business. The state cannot involve in business. But China, road, bridge construction, railway construction, all these construction companies belong to the government of China. And they're in Africa making business for the government of China. That's how they amass wealth. Shipping line belonging to Chinese government. Just as Kwame Nkrumah had the Black Star Line. But guess what? We saw the Black Star Line. There are still few state enterprises in Africa that are doing very well. Gihog in Ghana is one of them, doing very well. The distillery, Gihog Distillery, and other ones that I have no knowledge of. I mean, their names escape my mind now. Doing very well. They belong to the state. Malema also, talk about state enterprises in South Africa that are doing very well. Okay. The Chinese government had a lot of state enterprises that allowed them to amass wealth that is readily available for any country to go borrow. But the problem is there are saboteurs that are in these enterprises, state enterprises, that sabotage the enterprise, blackmail them so that they can see the state is running this company and it's not making profit because they are saboteurs who are knowingly planted in there to sabotage these enterprises, to make it, slated for selling to investors. And who are these investors? When they call investors, the picture of or the image of Dangote don't come to mind. It's always a person that does not look like me or you. But to run a successful business is not limited to one particular race. But in Africa, we've been beaten to believe that that is what it is. If that is what it is, Dangote wouldn't buy a cement factory from South African white people. In 1984, when apartheid was there, if you have told that cement factory people that a Nigerian will come and run or buy from them and run it better than them, they will tell you lie. You're a joker, a black person. But in the year 2015, Dangote bought a cement factory that was not doing very well by white people in South Africa. And turning into a gold mine. So a black person can also be an investor. A black person can also be an investor. And a black nation can also, a black state can also be an investor in its natural resources. to create the wealth that we need to build bridges in schools and hospitals. The enemy is real, and we shouldn't be as scared of him. Death is a natural process of life. God is not a very complicated person. Every day we die. We call it sleep. When you're deeply asleep, when you're dead, deeply asleep, your child can be kidnapped. You think, oh, my beloved children. Your beloved things can be stripped from you while you're sleeping. Criminals do that all the time. You wake up, you rise up from your sleep, from your death, and you find out all your beloved things is gone. So we're scared of death because I don't want to leave my children. I don't want to die young and leave my beautiful wife. But while you are sleeping, a miniature death, your wife could be raped. Excuse me. Your children can be kidnapped. Your wife could be kidnapped without even you knowing because you are dead in sleep. So God shows us this thing every day. God is not complicated. He will never hide this mystery of death from you. He made it so simple so that you can understand it. Our forefathers understood it. And they knew that it's a cycle. You just like sleep is a cycle. You wake up, you run through the day, you're tired, you die, you rise up again. So the way you rise up again with the rising sun, so you will rise up again when you are dead. It's not complicated. God is not a person of confusion to make death so complicated for you to understand it, but religion make it so complicated for it because somebody has put hell, which our forefathers never knew, into it, and some heaven into the equation. Our people just knew it's a cycle, reincarnation. You see, so brothers and sisters, don't let your heart be broken. A man came for the past 5 or 6 years, educated us, showed the way. Let him go and rest in power. 1.2 billion of us are in Africa, and 600 million of other of us are scattered around the world in the Western Hemisphere. There are many Magafulis amongst you. There are many Kwame Nkrumahs amongst you. Many Thomas Sankaras are right amongst you. Gaddafis are amongst you. Olympios are amongst you. The Lumumbas are amongst you. You are caught from a people who never been scared of death, who never had any vocabulary in their language called hell. That is the people who made you. Be proud of them and stand up tall. We might miss Magufuli, but there are many Magafulis born today, being delivered today, and many are amongst us coming up. Many Thomas Sankaras are amongst us, and many have been delivered today. Don't walk in this world with your shoulder down, with your head down. Walk as a man. Walk as an African woman. African women have been fighting battles as queen and rulers before any monarchy of any person called a queen of any other race came yesterday. African women, you've been fighting wars as leaders of kingdoms and queendoms long before any other race ever raised a female to be a queen. You started it all. So don't be scared of anything. Without you, the world as we know it will never be the way it is. You made them all African women. Don't let the death of President Magufuli bring your spirit down, African women. Don't. You have been a fighter, and you have sent your children, you have led your sons to war. You did it all. Nobody has anything to give you as International Day of Women. Nobody can give you any day. The whole days of the year belongs to you. Nobody has the right or the power to give you one day out of 366 days or whatever you want to call it. Or if we want to go to the Ethiopian calendar, 13 months of the year to give you anything. Nobody has that right to give you any day that is when they're going to recognize you. All the days of the cycle of the year is yours. It's yours. You have no glass ceiling of Hillary Clinton. The sky is yours. And the earth, Mother Earth, as I say, Yah, is yours. Nobody can give you anything. And when they make it, tell them to take their day or whatever and show you where the sun don't shine at. Because you won't take anything from them. They can't make a day for you, African women. They can't make a day for you. Mother's Day, International Women's Day. That is not you. All day belongs to you as a mother of the universe. So don't let your spirit be down because you have lost a son. Woman rose and her cried, cause a son had been shot down in the street and died from a stray bullet. She cried, oh, oh, oh. Jonny was a good man. John Magufuli was a good man.